Welcome to the Gaming Society Football Show, Week 15. We have a special guest with us, Gilbert Arenas, local Los Angeles basketball legend, Grant High School, Arizona, Agent Zero. If you don't know him, I doubt many of you know him as well as I do. Gilbert, I picked you up to go to TPI basketball practice when we were roughly 16 years old. I played with Dart in TPI. I did about 3 years on that squad. You were my guy when we were on that squad. So I was like, man, oh, Gilbert's here. I'm stoked to meet Gilbert. I haven't seen you in probably like 20-some years. And I was telling the fellas, I was like, normally if an NFL football player picks up a guy, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember Dave Anderson used to pick me up. But I was like, Gilbert went on to a killer career. He wouldn't even remember. So we locked out. There was a moment where he might have been like, he got vaguely familiar.
I'm from Virginia, so I watched him. I watched him come up.
So I have a classic white guy look. So that kind of get confused for that sometimes. But week 15, you know what, Gilbert, we help people better understand gambling, talk gambling. But mainly what we try to do is advise the average fan, right? And the way we do that is just talking ball, right? And I think the best thing we can do is talk from football, but we're really interested in you helping us with basketball and really understanding, like, you know, where it really starts, as an athlete, you bet on yourself, right? That's the first bet you make.
Yeah.
Walk me through in your career when you made that first bet on yourself, when you knew you were a good basketball player and you're like, I'm all in on my own career.
Sheesh. I guess high school.
Yeah.
You know, when I transferred and went from Birmingham to Grant, and the coach said, come try out for our varsity team. And, you know, all my friends was at Birmingham, and I was like, all right. So I trained for 2 weeks. You know,
Yeah.
come on, you thinking you're about
train
like
for it?
2 feet, like, you know, because, you know, I wasn't really good. I was an athlete, but I wasn't really good.
You played football.
I was a football and track.
Yep.
So like going into basketball, I was just, you know, just athletic a little bit. So, you know, watching film, watching little tapes, little DVDs back, VHS,
VHSs.
$5,
Oh, yeah.
NBA Jam, and then pop that in, watching moves, practice for 2 weeks, and, you know, I was ready for tryout.
So that's your story?
That's how it happened.
That's how I bet on it.
I was decent. I was faster, stronger than everybody, but I didn't really have the skills.
Yeah.
So, you know, when he's saying, yo, try out for our varsity team, like, oh, varsity? All right, let me go ahead and get to the lab.
Yeah, get to the lab.
He played a game in Chuck Taylor's, like old school Chuck Taylor's. He used
I could
to
never get my feet in those.
No, he used to toy with everything.
Yeah. So you know that ain't working. You got wide feet. You ain't putting no feet no chucks. You ain't wearing no chucks. Yep.
Yeah, and I remember I was on the 2-year younger team, and we're like, why is Gilbert playing the full playing left-handed? He's like, oh, I got to figure out how to shoot left on the left side. Like he was the type of guy that was that confident in his game.
That's cool.
That you'd be either wearing Chuck Taylors, that you wouldn't tie his shoes, or he'd play left-handed. So I modeled my jumper off this man. It didn't get me very far because I was height. I had some height issues. But Gilbert ran this city in basketball.
It was cold. That's all.
No, what was funny is I was like kind of like Mike Vick.
Yep.
In football,
No doubt.
I was a running quarterback until I tried to quarterback sneak.
That'll get you every time because they send you right up the gut.
They told me not to do it.
Yeah.
And they was like, yo, they got some hitters on it. Says, it's 11U.
Yeah.
That was 11U, and I was like, yeah, you know, went up, woke up a basketball player, knocked my helmet all off, everything.
Hey, let me tell you, I was just telling him before the show and a couple people that I didn't learn to shoot the jumper. Like, okay, I went to a camp this offseason, this past year, and they was teaching kids how to shoot the jumper. And, you know, I'm watching and I get a ball and they telling the kids, you know, keep the elbow straight and, you know, push it from here. And I'm like, so I grabbed the ball and I'm like instantly see to my elbow. I'm like, that's the reason I ain't make it to the NBA. I mean, that's the reason I ain't make it to the NBA.
Every football player wants to play basketball.
Oh yeah, I want to
football. They all want to do the other sport.
That's the coolest sport.
No one wants to do baseball because no one wants to be out there for
162 games.
That's legit. The other thing is that, like, you know, you bet on yourself as an athlete. When did you first become aware of like gambling and this whole thing that was an issue? Like, there's some famous stories we all have in locker rooms, gambling, playing that stuff. But like, when did you realize that like this was going on?
I mean, when I got to the NBA,
yeah,
you know, when I got to the NBA, just gambling, like playing cards,
yep.
Tunk, Boo-ray, poker.
One of my favorite games, Tunk.
Yeah, Tunk. That was the
all
first
of
game.
ours.
You
That's
know,
the
learn-
game going.
Yeah. You learn
Yeah.
Tunk, just to pass the time. It's just one of those things you do on planes and on, go to the hotel and you guys are just, playing and, you're doing. So that was the first time, I learned about just, players gambling.
Yeah.
I don't even think I asked you this question.
No, you haven't.
What card games were in Atlanta?
I mean, what we played? Tunk, obviously, and then they was playing Boo-ray.
Boo-ray
They
was
played
the same
Boo-ray,
thing.
but I stayed away from Boo-ray because, Boo-ray get out of hand. So Tunk
Yes.
was more my style.
Oh, so it's the same games.
Same
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, it's
You
the
know,
same games.
We used to have PSP. We travel with PSPs and we play poker on the PSPs on the plane.
Oh, bro?
That's
Yeah.
a little sophisticated.
Yeah,
I mean.
Because it's hard to do Blu-ray on a plane if you're not all sitting next to each other.
Right,
so
right,
when we're
yeah.
all spread out because there's 100 dudes on a
Right.
plane, you're trying to figure out how to, you got to get the guy who's over there and you got to get the guy way over there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not basketball where you're flying first class with the big seats. And
Yeah, the big
whatnot.
seats.
Yeah. It's a different ball game. It's a
You got to get a
different
300-pound
ballgame,
man in a commercial seat.
Yeah,
It's
man.
ridiculous.
Wait, y'all flew commercial?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think it's like 100 people traveling.
And they put out the
52
media.
players and media and stuff that y'all wouldn't know, but
Today still?
Yeah.
still, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like a Continental plane is what we flew.
That's why
Yeah,
the
it's-
salary cap's down. That's why I don't make as much
Right.
money going being allocated to different places.
The way I always think about betting, how I learned was like even playing like pig, horse, playing those games is really where you start establishing like, oh, I'll spot you 3 letters.
Yeah.
Right.
That's plus minus in my opinion. That's when I always look about that stuff. So like that. What's funny is you're not playing hoop. That really doesn't exist in football. There's no
What you
like.
mean? I played hoop in high school. I played
the elbow out?
I played.
They didn't let you get on the squad with the
yes.
elbow
Now
out?
that says a lot about our coaching. Obviously, he ain't helped me. Like he ain't say, Mike, you're shooting your elbow. I did hit a game-winning 3 my senior year. Classic moment. Like I ain't.
Do tell. Now we gotta hear it.
So I didn't play my junior year. So I'm like a guy who's like coming off the bench. I'm not a starter. So a couple
But
guys,
you're like a
couple
parade
guys-
All-American
yeah,
football player.
Yeah, I'm
though,
a
right?
football player, not a basketball. So I'm like out of rhythm. Now, mind you, my jump shot is not where it's supposed to be. So we in a big game. I get in the game. I don't know how I ended up in the game, and the ball came to me. Last shot. It came to me, and it was probably 10 seconds on the clock. So I could have swung it one more time. But I'm like, I'm taking this shot. Like, this. And I pull up, and my coach, I heard my coach in my ear like, no. In my
I gotta
mind, I'm
move
like,
this.
yes. And I shot that motherfucker. And it went in.
Yeah, and that's what the coach like.
And that's
yes,
my claim
yes,
to fame. That's my claim to fame. So it's an honor to be sitting here with one of the greatest shooters in the game ever, for sure.
That's
Yo,
hilarious.
Virginia y'all had a lot of dual athletes.
Yeah, no
Y'all
doubt.
had,
Ronald Curry.
Ronald Curry, yes.
Yeah, he came out to Allen. We had some guys. Some guys who had potential to make it.
Yeah.
So we were talking about cards. We were talking about playing horse. I think the thing that I've seen happen, and it really hasn't even happened in Los Angeles yet, but the whole attitude towards gambling has changed. It's changed a lot. Let's start with the NFL.
Yeah.
Like fantasy football wasn't something we even discussed. It was something like other
Absolutely
people
not.
did. What have you you doing pick sixes for Fox?
Yeah.
When did you see that recently it clicked for you that oh, we're blatantly talking about this?
Like 3 years ago, like when sports bet started getting introduced and just all these platforms just surfaced, and I'm like, the unfortunate part for me was I'm seeing all these platforms come about, and I'm like, I know nothing about this for years and years and years, but a lot of guys I knew they was educated on this, so I just seen it growing, a growing industry, and I thought it was really cool. So it's really cool to be a part of it now too. Just to gain understanding because I'm still learning. I'm very intrigued to hear about.
Yeah, I want to hear
basketball side.
Yeah,
too.
basketball. What, has it changed for you guys as well? Like how it's even talked
So
about?
I think why it was so frowned upon is because the stories we actually heard about gambling. College betting.
Yeah.
Betting on games
Yeah.
and point shaving. So that was what we all thought was gambling.
Yep.
Point
Yeah.
shaving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not realizing though,
Yep.
I bet you I can outrun you.
Yeah.
5,000.
Yeah.
That's betting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
So we bet, in practice on shooting and
Yep.
contests.
First
but when-
jump shot.
but
Yeah.
People always like, yo, did you bet on the games? Like what games?
Yeah.
Like, NBA games.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
like I never understood. Like
Right.
so I didn't really understand like what they actually meant about like all I was taught was like, point shaving, you had to lose games.
Yep.
I didn't know about minus
Stay
six,
away
this,
from it.
I didn't know anything about
They
that.
Same
used
for
to
us.
they used to grill us on
Yeah,
this,
same
like,
for us.
which I understand, they controlling it and policing it, but man, it's like it was a bunch of different ways to bet.
Yeah.
I remember Coach Kubiak saying, "I don't want anyone playing fantasy football.
Right.
Like, you leave that stuff to the fans, blah, blah, blah." And then, like, that went away, like,
Yeah.
my second and third year. But even at first, it was, like, no fantasy. Fantasy took a little bit longer to come along in basketball. Like, I felt like if baseball was obviously first. Everyone played a lot of fantasy baseball. Football, it's a perfect sport for fantasy because it's just one here and done. Do you have a football fantasy team?
No, I played in we're talking 2017.
Maybe 6.
2017, I get in my first fantasy league. So I get drafted. I get the number 1 draft, right? Number 1 pick.
Yeah.
And it's like, who do you want? I was like, I want Mike Vick,
Yeah.
number 1. And I was like, they was like, you can't pick Mike Vick, number 1. He doesn't play.
Retired.
And I was like, I thought I could just pick anyone, right?
Right.
I was like, I need to run in, I need to pass in. I was like,
need it all.
I was like, no, you can't pick Vic. I was like, how about Ocho Cinco? I was like, nah, he's retired
You got
too.
old- you got
Who
old
the
intel.
fuck can I pick?
old intel.
So number 1 pick, I ended up picking Tom Brady. They was
Okay,
like,
they
you
don't
don't
want a
pick a
bad pick.
quarterback number 1?
Right. It's a lot of.
We
It's a lot of rules
gave
to it.
Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett are on ours. We gave Paul Pierce so much shit for picking Patrick Mahomes first, or I think it was. He's winning the league.
Did it work out for him? I
Yeah,
think it worked
that's
out
what
for
I
him,
did.
actually.
I ended up winning
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
league.
saying.
It's
Like,
such crap. That's why it's
Crazy
fantasy.
ass rules.
I'm trying to. I'll talk about what I do for sports and getting into fantasy and whatnot. I have a process. It doesn't fucking
Right.
matter.
It don't work.
It doesn't matter.
don't
Like
it's-
I went for the guy who's gonna throw the most and probably have the most,
Yeah.
touchdown passes or whatever.
Right.
So
But
that's
you're smart.
Made sense to you.
Your
And it-
strategy is your strategy. They was telling us, hey, don't pick a quarterback in the first, pick your quarterback in the third round. I mean, I got Russell. It worked out for me, but it's still strategic in that whole little process.
and we weren't allowed to do fantasy things. I think the owners are in on it. They own the data companies. They own DraftKings and stuff like that. What kind of role do you think players should have or should be allowed to have?
I think gambling in sports is cool as long as you're not gambling on your own sport. Because you have more information than you actually think you know.
For sure.
Sure.
Like you have things that because you played the game, you automatically are more advanced
Right.
than just a regular person.
Yeah.
You're not as advanced as a shark,
Nope.
but you're good enough to beat the odds
Yep.
because you just know certain things.
Yep.
Like you would know if somebody just broke it down in simple terms of who do you think is going to win between this defense, that offense, and blah blah blah. You would know strategy.
Yep.
So it'd be easier to pick up things better than the average
It
person.
helps.
So that's why betting in your own sport kind of is like stay away from
Where do you
it.
land with that?
I mean, I'm with him. It's like, I mean, on the football side, I've never really paid attention to a lot of the sports betting and how it even worked. But like Gilbert say, you really got a better understanding than you think.
Yeah.
Like now that I'm learning it, like I could have been doing this for years. I wish I'd have started in 2015, 2016, just as a, something that's to do as a hobby.
Yeah.
And it could pay dividends for you if you really pay attention and you understand what you're doing and you know what you're doing. So it's really cool. I like the platform, but yeah, I never really understood it. To that point.
So the way that I try to always think about it is to extract a gem out of every player. About like how did they see the game? So when I was talking with Mike, we talked about turnovers inside the 20s.
Yeah.
Not red zone turnovers in the middle of the field, right? And that like a lot of people, those should be valued differently than turnovers in the red zone, right? And so like you should split the field up differently because you do that when you attack it in practice.
Right.
So now to you, so strategy-wise, if you think about, Wolf, do you bet on basketball now that you're
Yes.
over? Okay. So what is
And I
your
will
strategy?
be
Do you have
moving forward.
do you have a strategy?
Yes.
Okay. Walk me through it, please.
Okay, so I usually stick with certain teams.
Okay.
So depending on the line, so what I'll do is I'll look at, let's say tomorrow, right?
Okay.
I'll look at all the teams playing. I'll create my own lines of what I think the
Genius.
over-under should be, what the spread should be.
Okay.
So when the lines come, I can match it.
Perfect start.
And then I try to
Gotcha.
figure out why would they have this line.
It's a
like
cool
this?
strategy.
Yep.
So you
Right?
start
Yep.
looking into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then I'll just circle like certain teams. So I do things. I quarterback. I fucking kill in quarterbacks
I would
because
bet
no one
you
pays
would.
attention to quarterbacks. So it'd be like, let's say Milwaukee. So Milwaukee, Suns, Golden State. The chances of them winning the first quarter is very high. So if they're at home in a quarter, they have a quarter spread of -1 or 1 all day.
Really?
I'm taking it all day.
Why?
Because one, like Golden State, they win the first quarter by at least 7 points.
Them just good odds.
So you give me half a point or 1 point, I'm taking that at home every single time.
Huh.
I'm gonna
Right?
start betting on more
No,
basketball than football.
Yes, we gotta listen more here. We're gonna
So-
switch the name
Yeah,
of the
no
show.
doubt, no doubt.
So I'll look for certain teams that I know play very well first quarter
Okay.
at home or first quarter on the road. Then I'll look at like over-unders in the first quarter. So I do over-unders first quarter. So like anybody, let's say Charlotte is playing.
Okay.
So I look for fast teams.
Okay.
So right, like Charlotte, like let's say Charlotte's playing, let's say Spurs at home. Spurs usually average about 25 points in the first quarter. Well, if they give me 25 points in the first quarter, but they're playing Charlotte, I'm going to take the over. Because Charlotte, with ball on the road, he just spins the ball over. So he's just putting more possessions in that play, so it gives them a better chance to score. So if they have 25, 25 and a half, I'm going to take the over on that. So I usually take, when Charlotte's on the road, the home team, I usually take the over if it's reasonable.
For a long time, I read about it's the back-to-back game.
Yeah,
All these play like where do you think
One,
it is?
they put a lot of emphasis on back-to-back games, cities, but they're not looking at the city that's very important. They're looking at party cities. They look at more unders than they're supposed to. Like unders is hard. Like over-unders is easy, but you got to remember you have a better chance with an over because you have overtimes.
Sure.
Late game fouling plays a part in,
I never understand that part of basketball. It's
Yeah,
really
and
hard.
that's dreading when the game is close and then they're fouling.
Yeah.
So I look at, so like, let's say a spread is 3-4-5,
Okay.
right? So now the chances of 3-4-5. So if there's a 4, so let's say they're giving me 4 points, I'm going to push the line down to 3. I don't want 4, right? I take 5. I won't take 6. So I want 1, 3, 5. The reason is if they're down 1, a team is going to foul, which 2 free throws put it up 3. Well, if they're up 2 and they foul, they're 4. So I play in a 1-3-5 because so if they're down 3, they're going to shoot a 3, right? If they miss that, they foul. That goes to 5. You know what I mean? If they're down 4 and they miss the 3, they possibly won't foul to push it up to 5 to 6. So I try to stay out of that 4, 6.
Let's see if Mike can remember this. This is similar to football.
Don't
What
start
spreads?
quizzing me on
What
this. I'm
spreads?
trying to learn
Come on.
too.
No,
Well,
you-
you got
you-
this. You remember
All right, go ahead.
in football what numbers are, and when we're looking at the spreads, you're always looking at the -7,
-6.
-6. You want to go 6 and you're looking really at 6 and 8s. Similar
Okay.
thing. You're looking at 9s and 11s. You're looking at everything that's around 7, 10, 14, 21. And in a similar way, right? Like if a team is fourth quarter down 7, there's no field goal that's going to help me out now. I got to go.
Right.
I got to go for it. We're going to go
Yeah.
for it on fourth down. So you look at all those favorites. So 6,
Look at the odds.
you're like, okay, like what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
It's a little different in that like there is not a possession by possession is so different in football.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
if the ball is turned over in football, that's huge. Like if you can win the turnover battle in football,
Yeah, it changes the game.
it completely
Yeah.
changes the game, even just by one turnover. Whereas like basketball, like if you had to turn the ball over open court, it might be a 4-point difference.
Yeah.
And that's fine. We got the rest of the game.
You got the rest of the game.
You turn the ball over, it's a pick six, and you were in the red zone. That's a 14-point swing. You might not ever
Can't
get
overcome
that
it.
back.
Cannot overcome
Which is
that.
why we always talk about like red zone turnovers. Turnovers inside the 20, I think, was what people don't really put enough attention to. So there's some aspects of the game that certainly translate. That's
You know something? A lot of people gambling, they pay attention to halftime and in the game. When first quarter bets I did on football on Thursdays was over 10.5. I hate 10.5 because it's just that half a point just screws you every time because you can get a field goal and a touchdown and break even on a 10. Right? Like, I'll take 10.
Yeah.
That half kills you every time.
The half's
So, like, I'll look for teams that was 9, 9.5, 10 on a Thursday. I don't know what happens on a Thursday or why but Thursdays last year was like 14-2.
So you're betting on football
Damn.
too.
So you bet. I was just gonna ask.
On the over. Just that.
Just
over.
overs.
Oh, just over.
Who's your squad? Who you riding this year? What team are you liking this year?
I really stayed away from this year because it was kind of weird. Just weird. It just seemed like weird year.
Huh.
Right?
Which it
In
is.
football. Like football is hard.
Yeah.
So like I look at let's say trades or something, right? Something that's supposed to happen. Like, so it'd be like -7 this team, and then they just got this player.
Yeah.
And the spread didn't move.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with the other team.
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of weird where you see like guaranteed. You think it's guaranteed when that defense just matches that offense very well. And as a basketball player, I won't know that.
That makes sense.
So I get killed in football, and I got to make it back up in basketball.
We do an
That's
all-in
crazy.
segment, and we started off with our all-in bet where we were last week. At the end of the, we say, all right, did we win or did we lose? We kind of break down that game. We've been terrible, but I can tell you, our breakdowns are actually really good.
Breakdown's good. The comprehension behind it is great, but we ain't pulling through.
No, I think we're
We
4
ain't
and
pulling
5 or
through.
something like that. Both of us are, and we picked different teams, so we spread the love around. We never pick the same team. It's just that I had the Bills.
Yeah, your last week
Bills,
pick was crazy.
They didn't win. The Bills against the Patriots. I think I had one of those games. I feel like I fall victim to all the
What's
most
so funny?
random stuff.
If you go back and see why you lost, you're like, I actually knew that. I just didn't pay attention.
Do you track
to
your
it."
bets?
So usually basketball starts around 4 o'clock, 4 or 5. I'm asleep, so I want to be asleep when the game starts. So I don't like watching the game because when you watch it from emotions.
Yeah.
Right. So you're watching how you win and how you lose, and like how do you
driving yourself crazy?
You sitting there tracking like, okay, 20. Okay, they got 20 points. I need 23. There's 3 minutes left. Good.
Foul.
Right?
Don't foul.
Now you're
Right?
sitting there like, they haven't scored. Is it? Let me refresh. It's fucking 1 minute. They say,
Right.
what fucking team is this?
Nerve-wracking.
So it's nerve-wracking. So I don't want to go off of emotions. I want to just go off of just logic. Just the higher probability. And that's all you can basically do. Like I take bets. Like my bets go off of what is. So I'll take like a 4 bet, right? Which I'll take one game and then I'll break it down. Like what has the best chance of hitting. So it'd be like, all right, so if the scores, let's say Lakers versus someone, and they do shit like 115 in the first half, 210 for the game, which mathematically is wrong because if it's 115, it should be 230.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So you want me to take the over on the 210 because you're giving me so many points.
Yeah, it's a lot of points.
So right there tells me under. So now I got to look at first quarter. What's the So this is my 90% bet. This is my 80% bet.
You got a nice strategy.
And this is my gamble bet.
You got a strategy.
So now I just go there and then I make sure I lay all my 90%ers in.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
The one thing Mike and I did that I like to do is to even take the emotion out of the teams even more. Is I'd say the team to myself, right? So I'd write down like whatever, Philadelphia Eagles, and I would say one word that I think describes that team, and I would be like, this year I'd be like lost, right? And then I would be like, okay, Los Angeles Rams. I'd be like front running, and I would so I would take the team out, and so then I would look at the lines just like you were and be like, all right, so I have loss versus the front runners. So I remind myself what I thought of those teams so that I don't get too wrapped up in either what has happened, what I read in the news, Odell Beckham's back on the rim, well, probably even more this way or whatever it is. Like sometimes I get too emotional with football because I know it is such an emotional sport, and that like you got to rally around a cause every week. There's always
pretty much what he was saying about why, how he go about his betting. He don't get caught up in watching the game.
You get caught up in watching it.
Emotional part of it.
Except you get paid to watch games, so you.
I know.
Like let's say
it's a different deal.
Let's say you're taking a bet, right, and you just lost it, and you're like, well, how do I lose that? And then there's a halftime bet because you're so emotionally invested in it, you can't see you can't see the halftime bet that glares that can like offset that loss.
Right.
That's like why Hawaii is like the most bet team in college football is because they're always the last game of the day. So it's like everyone's either won and they want to push it all in, or they lost and they want to push it all in and try to make it all back. And so they put on Hawaii. But one thing we do here at the Gaming Society is a thing called the Betting Academy, right? Where we take experts, we take other people that teach us something about the sport, what they think about certain bets. We either, we learn more about what a prop bet is, what the over under is, what a spread means, what you name it, right? We're going through all the terms and the terminology, but we always like to have when we have a basketball player or anyone on that knows a certain subject better than us. This is obvious that as basketball, we're gonna just shoot you kind of the Betting Academy individual awards. This is brought to us by Fubo Sports, so it's pretty cool. Okay. We get to do some cool aspects of this, but right now. We got 4 categories. First category, Rookie of the Year. Who is your front runner?
Do you know any rookies?
No, I was going with Jalen Green early because he was balling, but his team ain't doing very well. He's gonna have the stats, probably won't get the team very well. I didn't pay. The JV is so hard. I call it the JV. Your rookie year, you're the JV.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because you don't know nothing.
You don't know anything.
You don't know anything. But if I'm going to go with something, I'm going to go with just probably Jalen Green.
Okay,
right, nice.
Evan Mobley is plus 130. He's the leader out of the gate.
Who he play for, Dave?
I don't know who Evan Mobley is.
Okay.
Oh, Cavs.
Oh, he's on the Cavs?
He's the
guy from SC.
Yeah, he's from SC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
He's
I
good.
remember him in the draft, with him getting drafted.
Cade Cunningham, first pick. I haven't watched a single game of Cade's.
Man, I got to
It's
get caught up.
Detroit, bro.
Enough said.
It's like the Lions in football.
Enough
They
said.
They just don't get any love. They don't get any love.
No love.
That whole state. Just let it go.
All right, Big D, let's go, Big D.
Okay, then let's go back up to Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes plus 255. So
he's more of an energy. He's more of that energy guy, that hype guy. On the defense end, still trying to find an offense. But it's all when it comes to like players like that. If they have the winning behind them, they rank higher. But usually it's a scorer that's going to try to take that. Somebody who's averaging 19 to 20.
Huh. So who are we taking? Well, he's taking Jalen Green. We're going Jalen Green with the plus 1,300.
They got Jalen Green with the plus 1,300.
Yeah.
Dang.
It seems like 100 win 1,300 though. That's
Gotta go with Mobley.
Bet.
Nah, you're gonna have to go with Mobley then.
Gotta go with Mobley.
You gotta go Mobley.
You have to go with Mobley, yeah.
When do you think it's clear who's really gonna win these awards? Like
usually by All-Star weekend. You should really be like, okay, that person won because the other person's so far behind. Number 2 is so far behind. Yeah. Because as I said, like if the reason Jalen Green is so far behind because his team is in last place. Like if they go on an 8-game winning streak, he's gonna jump up.
All right, so actually,
that's not gonna happen.
First pick is second round, right? When you're drafted.
Yeah.
First pick of the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you get those, but that was a crappy team, right? Because they had the first pick of the first round too. Does that influence the MVP award? Do you think? Because you got to do more. Both of you were pulling more weight, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. Okay. So yes.
So a guy like Cade Cunningham in Detroit, it's the first pick. He's going to a bad team.
He's going to a bad team, so his stats are gonna
plummet.
But you can be a great player, right? And go to which was a bad team, but end up being a great team when everybody got healthy.
Yeah.
And then you be screwed. So like somebody like the year before, like Wiseman.
Yeah.
You go to the second pick, which is the worst fucking pick you want to go to at that time because you're going to go to the state.
Yeah.
Now, Clay is hurt, Draymond was hurt, Curry's hurt, right? So that team sucked.
Yeah.
Now you go get the number 2 pick, and you go on that team, and now Curry,
everybody back,
Draymond.
and, yeah.
And so you're like this 5th option. So your career basically is not going to be
Get
what it's
drowned
supposed
out.
to be.
But you're gonna win.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but you ain't
Yeah,
getting
you
no
win,
accolades.
but the 2 other players in front of you and behind you
Are getting a team built
max
around
deals.
them.
They're going to be signing 205s, and you're going to be
You
sitting
be
there
salty.
with a 5-year 45. But you got 2
You got
championships.
nothing.
What was your record your rookie year?
I didn't start.
I know, I remember, but you started like week 9, I think we were saying, or
I
something
think
like that.
we was 4-12.
4-12, and then you had
I
what?
only started one game.
And then you
that
guys
was
had
the
like
last
the
game of the
5th pick
season.
the next year or something.
We had like the 5th or 6th pick, and
Who
then
was
we
it?
drafted T.J. Duckett.
T.J. Duckett.
Yep.
I always think that's fascinating in football because I was 2006 draft, so Mario Williams was picked. I was picked 251, a
Real.
couple after you boys.
Yeah.
I was the pick before Marcus Colston is what I always
You
laugh
almost
about.
missed irrelevant.
255 is Mr. Irrelevant, motherfucker.
Throw that in there.
You do get a tour in Irvine
Yeah,
or something like
no
that though. We went like 6 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had another draft. So now it's like a big draft, right? Because you can't be crappy, right? But the problem is we ended up going 6 and 10. I think the next year we drafted Amobi Okoye, another defensive lineman. And we started kind of building this defensive line. Just never really panned out. That's what I think is so fascinating with NBA. We're getting a little off here, but we'll get back to the most improved. Is like the 76ers just went all in on all these picks. And it's just you got all these good young players. I'm curious how that influences
That is
all this
actually
stuff.
fantasy. You
Yeah.
know, because what ends up happening is they call it rebuilding, right? When it's just for fans and ticket holders. They use that word rebuilding, meaning we got to get rid of the star.
Right.
And the reason we got to get rid of the star is because he makes so much money, and our team sucks. We can probably get some pieces for him to rebuild, but you got to justify moving a star, right? So you got he's bad locker room guy, bad. So you always use that.
Right.
But the rebuilding it's horrible because if a young team really performs, if they really do what they're supposed to do, you can't afford them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
At some
can't
point.
actually
Like the Thunder,
afford,
right?
Can't pay him.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Think about the Lakers team before LeBron got there. Where are all those players now? You got DeLandre
gone.
Russell, all-star, right? He's an all-star. He would have been damn near max. So look at his contract. Look at Ingram's contract,
Yeah.
right? So you look at Ingram's contract. You look at Zoe's contract. You look at
Was Schroeder there? Dennis Schroeder? Okay.
lefty New York Randall. Look at his contract.
Oh, he was in L.A.?
Yeah.
Kuzma's
that.
contract,
Yeah.
six man in Utah. You couldn't afford that group if they all.
That makes
played.
sense.
It happens in football too, like Seattle Seahawks when they had Russell Wilson on a rookie deal. They had Richard Sherman on a
Legion of
rookie
Boom.
deal. And then all of a sudden, you got to
had to
pay
pay
all those
everybody,
guys,
yeah.
and then you got this is not a rough move.
And
for
Russ was the
everybody.
last one standing.
Yep.
And now it's hard to piece it together now.
I think NFL more than any sport, you got to get luck. You got to get fortunate when drafting a quarterback. 'Cause if
Definitely.
that can be your one of your lowest paid players, you're
So, yeah,
golden.
You
Yeah, for a
guys-
couple years.
The rookies are valued really high, right, in football.
Yes.
Like you sign big deals as rookies.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, see NBA like you have to get like in basketball you have to get lucky in a draft because the way they've designed it is a player just can't leave. Like in football, you can be a free agent and go. In basketball, you make so much money in your home place that leaving is just like, like, you're talking about like, so what Kawhi did, right? You're talking about 210, 220 in, Toronto versus he leaves and comes here for 155.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Only because he's coming to LA, he can make
Right.
that money back. Anywhere else, he can't do that.
Can't do it. Can't recoup.
You can't
nuts.
recoup. You can't recoup that.
Yeah,
money.
that's nothing like that in football.
Yeah, so you can't
no
like
hometown
so
teams.
it's designed so players can't leave. So when a player does leave to go team up, it's all about winning. It has nothing to do
it.
with money because they're turning down so much money.
Interesting.
Like Kevin Durant has turned down so much money.
Yeah. Could have played anywhere.
Like so much
He
money.
could have played anywhere.
Because you can do demand a trade. You can sign and trade and go somewhere else. But for him to just leave OKC to go to Oakland, and then Oakland to go to. That's almost.
I never really thought of that.
150.
All right, let's skip to this. Coach of the Year, odds right now, Steve Kerr plus 245. Monty Williams plus 325. Billy Donovan plus 465. Eric Spoelstra plus 870. And then we start getting into the thousands, which means like who knows. But Steve Nash makes a list plus 1,075. The thing about I could only say this. I really wanted you to start this. Kubiak was my favorite coach. I thought he communicated incredibly well to the team. I thought we talked about this. He was a veteran type coach. He needed a veteran leadership for his coaching style to be successful. We were talking about Mike played for some pretty famous coaches, even all the way back in college. What type of locker room stuff like that did you need? And so like just before you get into Coach of the Year, who you think it is in the NBA, what coaching styles did you like as a player and that you thought are successful? And then I want you to take that and say like, all right, that works in the NBA, that doesn't, and this is probably what
at first I thought it was more so like having a coach that's like a player's coach, a coach that, we always want a player's coach, a guy who's relatable, practice start at, 2, we starting at 2:15 and we getting out at 4, like, that's because we communicated that with him and he understood, like, coach, we need a little more time to get our bodies together. A player coach in a sense, who catered to the players. Then I started to realize over time, like, that's not it. Let the coach's rules and his philosophy be what it's supposed to be. Like, coach us, teach us, let us follow your guidelines so we can, get the most out of ourselves. Because we always think we got it, we know it. We learn something on Monday and then we got it on Friday and we can execute it for the rest. No, you're gonna always have to learn how to execute a step further or, add more to what you're learning. So, I always looked at the players coach versus the stern coach, and when I look at, I want a coach that's gonna be on me every day, who's gonna coach me hard and gonna coach everybody hard, not afraid of the stars or afraid of the guy who, might be the Mr. Irrelevant in the locker room. Treat everybody the same.
You can't do that in basketball, bro. Fuck no.
No?
No. They dumb.
Straight up.
The coaches is dumb.
They don't know more than.
No, like you want the players coach because the players coach actually play. So they understand how your body feels like 4 games in 5 nights, 8 games in 10 days. Yeah. So they know what game's supposed to be a loss, like a scheduled loss. Like, we're playing the Lakers, the Clippers, right? And then we have a day off, and then we play Sacramento, and then Golden State. Okay, in theory, we should not win this Golden State game. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all our eggs against Sacramento, and then just go out and say, fuck it against Golden State. No playbook, go out and play. We don't supposed to win anyway, so just go out and go.
What?
Just go do you.
I've won more games where we're playing the hardest teams, and the coach just goes out there, erase everything, and just say, yo, y'all just go out there and play.
That is dope.
Because you got to remember, in football, why do trick plays work so much? Because they don't know they're coming.
Yeah.
That's all NBA is. Like, you studied every play we got. You don't study 1-4 flat. You don't study me shooting from back here. So, when it comes to basketball, it's really is what coach puts you with the people that actually fit your style.
Nice.
That's the teammates on the floor.
Teammates, you got to remember, coaching to me in just basketball itself. You have paper great. Like, they're great on paper.
Sure.
This team is great on Lakers.
Yeah.
Great on paper.
Yeah.
Right? Well, do you know who plays well together? Forget the paper, forget the names. Who plays well with him? Meaning, like, if you roll, that receiver knows, okay, he throws heavy towards the what's the name, so I'm gonna fake in and bam out, and it's like target. You guys, you don't have to do. He just knows you. Same thing in basketball. Like, you might be the 15th player, but you know how to play well. You know when to screen, to roll, to give it back. Like, you know it. So, like, put him in. Put him in so I can shine. But most coaches don't know that.
I just say, it's funny that Gilbert said what he said in terms of, the coaches being former players. It's not like that in the NFL. Most coaches haven't played, so we got to a lot of guys got to lean on them. But I've always been a fan of, the guys who played the game. They know it, they understand it. Injuries, playing time, whatever the case may be, they can relate to it. But this is not the case in the league. But I understand that on a high scale, on a high level.
So you guys are more. You guys are mostly X's and O's. So
Yeah.
it's more about detail.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's detail. In the NBA, it's not detail. It's what superstar can take over and keep taking over. You know what I mean? So yeah, we might have a game plan, but I know he can't guard me.
Yeah.
So whatever game plan it was, I'm just gonna keep attacking him the whole time. Like what game plan? Like even with practice, you talking about 2:15 to 4 o'clock. We'd have faint if we was in practice that long.
Man, that's only
We're the wrong sport.
Hour and 45 minutes. I'm just saying, because usually it's 2:30. It's usually like 1:30 to 4:15 or 1:30 to 4.
Bro,
like 2 hours and 30 minutes.
We
bro.
will be crying in practice.
Oh my God.
Like we'll quit. Like yeah, bro, I don't want to be on this team no more.
First of all, he said an hour and 45. I've never been out. I've never been, 2:15 is what we were.
Yeah, that's why I said reduce it.
Right now it's the hardest. It's hour 30 probably the most right now. After All-Star, 15, 20, 30 minutes, man. Okay, you watch the game, right?
So this is why. So this you're giving some clarity to Allen Iverson's comment about practice because he's only there for 15, 20 minutes.
Who the fuck actually practice?
Now I understand why he said practice.
Who the fuck is practice? What are you practicing? To give me the ball 45 times? Is that what we're practicing? We don't need to practice to give me the ball. I know this.
I take it from out of bounds anyway, and I just walk it up.
Think about like James Harden. Like think about how James Harden plays.
Yeah.
You think they in practice and he just sitting there dribbling, bopping and stuff? They don't practice that. That's what he does. Same thing with Curry. You think they're practicing the stuff he does? No, you just do individual work.
Wow.
So it's like going to practice.
A lot of people get a lot out of this.
Yes.
Like going to practice for 40. Think about going to practice for 45 minutes and you just working on passing. You're passing.
Right.
You ain't working about no plays.
What about out of bounds plays, something like that?
You do all that. Man, that's what training camp's for. You put all them plays in for training camp. If you don't know it when we get out of training camp, hey, see you in the rest of the season, bro. But other than that, you can't. The day-to-day going over the same thing, no. So we'll go. If we play you the Lakers, we playing y'all tomorrow. We'll go over a few things in practice, y'all key stuff, and then we play you Tuesday, you the Clippers. We didn't do nothing for you. We didn't do nothing. It's off of principle.
Why am I?
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Irrelevant. I'm the Clippers. Is it where I'm sitting on the couch?
No. I'm just saying. So it's like we just going over. Nobody wants to be Clippers.
Yeah, nobody wants to be Mr.
I went to the
Irrelevant.
Clippers Boston game. Why do the Clippers have logos and slogans after slogan? Our way, all in, can't wait, blah, blah, blah. They're searching for an identity.
It's delusion. When you suck, you just make up shit.
Trying to trick you. They're
They're just trying to trick. They're trying to convince themselves.
Playing mind games.
As long as they're in front of the Lakers, they're fucking having an amazing season.
Yep.
What the other thing that drives me crazy about basketball, they play so much music during the game. And like cheesy
hoop, man.
music.
It's
Cheesy
hoop,
like
man.
Space Jam music. Doesn't that affect you guys?
It's kids. It's kids. It's depending if it's Friday night, Saturday night, trying to keep everybody in the ball.
Yep.
We don't hear it half the time anyway.
Okay, so I'm rewinding this back. Does that because you're talking about cities going to cities? Are there cities or teams or stadiums that are known for obviously being tougher to play because the fans? But are there other environmental things? Because you talked about the fans say because whatever Houston they have great strip clubs. That's why we're going to take the under here.
Yeah.
What other cities?
But we got to remember a hype city means the player's gonna be hyped.
Yeah.
That's just how that works. So when a player comes to LA, it's LA. He's gonna party up. You gotta remember, it's different. This is what people don't realize. I don't care what time I get in. I can party till 5, 6 in the morning.
Because the shoot around is what time?
Shoot around is at 11. I probably don't even wake up for that bullshit. The game ain't till 7, so I'm gonna sleep all fucking day. So by the time the game starts, I got all my energy.
Wow.
I got all my, and that's what they
That's
don't.
the difference between.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
we
it don't
can't-
like so you. People are like, yo, I'm seeing, blah blah blah. He done took 20 shots. I took 20 shots. I done threw up. I done threw up last night. I had a few girls come over, and I'm gonna score 50 because he sucks.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But it's the city, so like an under, like where like hype players really like
Thrive.
Minnesota, Milwaukee, Michigan. Like, you playing teams like that, going to Orlando. Like, you play those teams, that's where you're going to have, like, players playing under.
Right.
Like Lakers losing to OKC. That makes sense. It's
Really?
OKC. Like,
Yeah.
Because none of those players want to be there.
No. You bored, you sit in the hotel bored. Like, this ain't no fun. Like, I got too much time. You got too much time.
It reminds me of like late season games for NFL teams. If your team is playing for the playoffs and there's a late season game, you're playing someone who's like 4-10, and there's no one in the stands. It feels like a fourth preseason game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but them be the most pressured games.
Yes.
Right there.
Yeah, because
they gotta go in there.
Yeah, because they trying to spoil
Yeah,
it.
they
But
playing
you talk
spoiler.
about like gambling wise, what you gamble on, like those are unders. Because it's just
for
so
sure.
hard to stay up for four
Yeah.
quarters. Like you come out there, you're amped, so maybe you would do like a first quarter bet like you. I'm trying to take what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to, you come out amped, but it's so hard to sustain when you're not getting booed. It's just quiet.
Yeah, but still, like in basketball, first quarter depends on players. What players start off fast. Like I used to do prop bets with Melo when he was in New York. He was going to be the first person to 10 points, right? So if there was a bet to 20 points, so it's like first one to score 20, I'm going with New York all the time because Melo was instant offense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
first person to score, Melo.
Oh, I'm about to
Right,
get
so
my
you do like
my basketball betting game about to be
but
crazy.
it's just like it's
about to be on it.
it's like saying, all right, we're gonna Atlanta, first person to score a touchdown. What was the probability on who's gonna score a touchdown? You, the running back, or the receiver. That's so it's like trying to figure out what the defense is.
Right.
Once it gets to the 5-yard line, it's either you or the running back. You know what I mean? So you're just doing your probables off of stuff like
off
that.
Fubo better be happy because this is the best content I've ever heard or listened to. It has anything to do with the coach of the year.
My pocket
But it has to be a player's coach is what I've learned from this.
Yeah. So
Are all 5 of those guys player coaches? Kerr, Monty?
Yes.
But they are.
Yes.
You can see it too. You can see it.
You're going to give it to, it's either going to be Kerr because, what they're doing without, Clay gives him the edge.
Sure.
Because, you don't have a full roster. They're talking about, you don't have Clay Wiseman. Who cares about, Wiseman right now because he hasn't really done anything.
Sure.
So, doing that without Clay and it's just you and a bunch of other players, it's impressive.
Okay.
That's really, but you have your star healthy. Yeah. What they're doing over in, Phoenix, that's impressive. We didn't really think their team was that good. So that's impressive. So it most likely going to be one of the two.
MVP. I'm going to let you handle MVP. You were only,
MVP.
I was never in an MVP race.
All right,
You can handle the
MVP.
MVP, sir.
I mean, obviously Steph Curry at plus 115, Kevin Durant plus 435, Giannis plus 540, Jokic plus 1,200, and then Luka Doncic at 19 plus 1,900.
They don't even have a close second.
Nah, KD.
They don't have a
Plus
they don't even have a
435.
close second.
No. Plus 115. That's a tough bet for an MVP right now in December. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
if
still
you're a
early.
gambler, all you're doing is trying to fast forward, look at the rest of the season, what's going to happen. I'm surprised Chris Paul or Booker's not up there.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Luka.
that's a weird one. That one of those two are not there, and they're the second best team.
Were you ever in an
Yep.
MVP race?
Yeah. I was behind Nash.
I asked Mike that question. He was in one too. I said, did
I think,
you pay attention to that?
2002.
Yes.
You did?
What?
I love Gilbert.
What?
He was so correct. He's like, no, I
Hey,
thought
hey,
about
look,
the
the
next
coach-
game.
Man, you
'Cause
playing
you play
quarterback, man. You gotta stay on the straight and narrow.
you have to stay on the straight and narrow.
Yeah,
But
it's
just
just
Throw me
different.
the ball.
It's different.
Throw me the ball.
Yeah, that's what I said. You have more variables. In
Yeah.
football.
Oh, yeah.
In basketball, I can literally say, "Fuck off."
I'm shooting.
Get that shit off the glass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's on my It's like the MVP is like, yeah, it's a team shit, but I still gotta have 30 first.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get my 30, and then we'll worry about this win after. You know what I mean? But you can do that in basketball. In football, it's you gotta
I'm gonna throw 4 touchdowns, and then we're gonna figure out about winning.
Y'all do y'all, and then we
you
can
gotta
pick it
remember,
up
that's
from
not
there.
even throwing football. That's like running in for a touchdown with
Yeah.
500 yards.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is to be a scorer in the NBA. Like
love
you're like,
basketball.
man, I'm not passing to the receivers. Fuck y'all. Fuck you running back. I'm gonna do this shit myself.
Man.
You know, that's what that is.
When's the last time you played basketball?
I play against my son, here and there in the backyard. But
5-on-5, pickup ball.
in the summer.
You played in the
last
summer?
Last summer, yeah.
When's the last time you played?
Last year, I got 5, Gucci Man got 5, and I found out that Gucci Man can play basketball.
Oh.
Took me to school, bro. You know how you underestimate a guy like, yo, Gucci can't be too athletic. Yo, Gucci came, took his shirt off, he was ripped up.
Yeah, you're
In
thinking about
shape, he ran up and down the court.
Did you guard him?
Absolutely. I had to guard Gucci, but look, he hit the game-winning shot on me, too.
Yeah, that's what
And he ain't just a rapper. He's not just a rapper.
thinking about the fat Gucci, huh?
He was shooting
Played
like
at
Gilbert
I played
Arenas.
at 9:30 a.m. against the Manhattan Beach Scrubs, 5-on-5. I play
Did
on
y'all win?
Saturdays. Yes.
Oh, good.
But
good.
it's
At
easy
least
to
you
play
won.
back. It's I always wondered, like, when it came to like football and training, right? How do you work on your individual skills?
Well, no, it's something that you got to practice every day. Like, we get most of our training in practice, repetition. You know, it's about, like, as a quarterback, throwing every day, I'm throwing this out. I got to perfect this out because I don't know when it's going to get called or when I'm going to have to. So everything it's done in the off season, but it's more so done with the players that you play with, I would agree. I think
You
would
really
agree.
can't. You can do lifting and you can work on your footwork and whatnot, but like as a receiver, all that is forgotten if I'm not only am I not throwing with a quarterback, but my quarterback. You talk about like coming off a pick and getting that feel. Shoot, the way Mike Vick throws the ball is a lot different the way any other lefty throws the ball, any other right, like where it's coming out from, the spin,
the speed.
when he throws it. And I think I always thought about where a bad ball is likely to be, right? Good ball is great. NFL quarterbacks shouldn't throw good balls. The difference is where are their bad balls located, right? Those are where you got to be prepared for, and those are where you have to practice because those are the hardest ones because they're coming hard and whatnot, and it's different for every quarterback, right? Peyton's were classic wobblers that are kind of like going to crisscross your hands before you catch them. I would have like a Tebow ball that would dovetail, like the back would start turning on you, and so it would go from like this to like this, and so you're kind of like your elbow. It's weird stuff.
Damn,
so like,
that's ugly.
there's all sorts of ways.
That's weird.
There's all sorts of things. I mean, but like your ugly ball, everyone's ugly ball. It's like an
Yeah,
ugly
right,
route.
though.
Like
Yeah.
okay, he's stumbling. I'm gonna
Right.
put it right on his hip, and then he'll get it like
So,
nice.
like y'all talk about a Tebow, right? A Tebow in our sport makes a lot of money, right?
He made a lot of money in our sport.
No. Okay, so a Tebow in our sport is considered like not necessarily Jamal Crawford, but a Lou Williams. A
good 6-man type.
A guy that, for some reason, his brain clicks very well under pressure in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So watching how Tebow played, it's like, all right, Tebow, look, listen, we got 2 minutes. Get up the court. Get up the field.
Make it happen.
Go win it.
Make it happen.
Go win it.
He clicked. His brain clicks
I'll give
very
you that.
well.
I'll
give you that.
He becomes a Peyton Manning
I'll
in
give
those
you that.
situations.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in basketball. We have players who they're average during the game. The last 2-3 minutes, their brain they know how to hyper.
Superstars.
They know how to hyper, and they're superstars, and they get paid just for that. And they're only good at that. They can't think the rest of the game.
In those
They
moments.
cannot play the first 3 quarters. They just don't know how to function there. You just go win it for us, and they just knew how to
I
perform.
got a different respect for the hoop game now, for sure.
Like some
No
players, some
doubt.
players, you was just
Without
like,
a doubt.
Yo, he's so ass, but the last 3 minutes, this dude is gold. Like, I don't want to guard him.
Keep
last 3
him on the
minutes.
roster.
Yeah.
Who's your MVP in NBA this year?
MVP, Steph. I'm going Steph Curry right now.
Curry.
Yeah. Can Giannis make a run for it? Giannis?
I think he can. But I'll let Gilbert out.
No. He
answer that.
could. If it's going to be late, it's going to be a late run. You got to remember his team wins got to match. But, Steph's so far ahead that
It's not going to
Be hard
happen.
to catch him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, That's a Betting Academy individual awards brought to you by Gilbert Arenas today. So we got our in, but we're gonna go a little off hours here. So off hours sponsors our show, as you see over here at Gilbert. They're our bourbon and whiskey of choice. Off hours, really, it's about the off season, the hours that are when you're not at work. So I want you to try this. Are you able to have a little?
Yeah.
A little right here. We only got 2
I mean,
glasses.
that's a man's drink. I'm not even gonna lie. That's like straight man's drink.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like I went to Arizona, bro. There's mixed drinks.
Yes.
Crown and Coke.
They like to drink these
Crown and
niggas.
Coke.
Mixed drink.
Crown and Coke.
Malibu, cranberry,
Yeah,
pineapple,
yeah.
stuff like this.
Yeah, dress it up a little bit.
We're all gonna do one ice cube and one taste, and we'll do a cheers for off hours here. And I just want to hear what you think. I don't know if you're a whiskey drinker, but Mike and I have been having
Gave
a
him
little
a
bit of
little
this all day. So,
All right.
cheers, fellas.
fellas.
Gilbert,
Cheers,
to
no
LA basketball.
To LA basketball.
Yeah.
LA
Just
basketball.
athletes.
LA
All right,
basketball
let's do
legends
it.
and athletes.
Ooh.
Oh, that's not that bad. Usually I'm here like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
That's serious.
I just
Oh,
like
this is good.
Cheers.
Shout out to off hours.
Where am I going out? Right here? Oh, I got your questions. Off hours questions. Gotta get you one question each.
Hey, that was, hey, all right.
Not bad.
There's more if you want some. Who wants the first question? These are non-sport questions.
All right. Go Gilbert first.
All right. Lincoln Riley, Brian Kelly, and other high-profile college coaches changed jobs before the end of the college football season. What would you say to your locker room if your coach left before the season was over?
Am I the player or the coach?
You're the coach. Oh, good question. You're the coach. No. What would you say if your locker room if your coach left? Yeah, you're the player. How are you rallying? Are you rallying the troops?
See, that gotta be.
You got to be the quarterback. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
that gotta
gotta
be
be
him.
for me.
That gotta be his question.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking. As soon as you start saying Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly,
We got the wrong guy.
so if you a player, that's what you're asking. If you're
Yes.
a player, how would you?
Yes.
I mean, I would just probably tell the guys, that this is a situation where the next coach who might come in, he might do the same thing to us. So, I think it's important that we take it upon ourselves to make sure that we are doing the best that we can to ensure our futures too. Because you see our coach, he just left us in the middle of the season to go secure his future.
Yeah.
So let that be an example to us to, learn from this and put everything into what we trying to build or what we trying to become so that we can one day go off to the NFL or go be successful in our own right, or even if you got to transfer somewhere else and get up out of here, you doing it for the right reasons because our coach just left for all the right reasons
I like
too.
that. I like that. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Especially now these days when players can transfer, they can do whatever they want.
Yep.
We kind of got into this. When was the first time you knew you had a shot playing? When was the first time you knew you had a shot at playing in the league?
Oh, me. When I got drafted.
Really? You didn't
you
even
know-
think in Arizona or
Like,
dominating?
like Coach Olsen said, oh, yeah, you're better than Mike Bibby right here, so I don't expect you to come back for your junior season. Yeah, coaches always,
Yeah.
trying to hype you up.
Right.
But I never knew until I actually got there. And
Wow.
when I got there, I really wasn't ready. To be honest, I wasn't, it's just different. College, high school basketball, college basketball, NBA, they're three different worlds.
Yeah.
So the rules and things that are happening in college aren't the rules in the NBA. It's a whole different game. So what made me great in college, that didn't work in it. So I had to relearn
Interesting.
a whole new
Wow, that's-
strategy.
I would've never
Because
thought
now,
that.
now in the NBA, it's gray area basketball. So their travels ain't necessarily travels. They want you to actually play defense.
Right.
So if a guy, his guy's on fire, they're gonna keep going until you personally stop him. They know they pass it over here and this guy's like,
Yeah,
man,
go-
I ain't getting the
give it
ball.
to him.
Like, this guy's trying to score 50. He's trying to score 50. Every drop, they drop it.
Yeah.
Drop it. There ain't no double coming. Nah, you're a
Yeah.
rookie. You better learn how to stop him.
Wow.
So learning the NBA way.
Huh.
So I didn't really realize I was an NBA player until I really got into the rotation consistently.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Other than that, it was just everybody's gonna get the turn. I'm a journeyman. I got 2 years to try to get this
right,
to get this thing started.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where once it's like, oh, Gil, come in. Oh shit, I'm coming in the third quarter. In the last 2 minutes of the fourth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's when I realized, okay, I'm kind of in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's like trying to stay in.
Wow.
That's
You
what's
know,
up.
because I asked Mike, and we'll end with this, because Mike asked like, who are you compared to? And there wasn't really anyone. There was like a vague comparison of Randall Cunningham and some other people, right? I thought that was always the key. If I were to answer that question, when did you find your identity as a player? Like for a long time, you admire all these other players, and then you get to the NBA and they're already there. So you can't be those guys. You got to be someone else. He had the benefit of this, of bringing this from college to the NFL. There wasn't anyone his game was like.
So I fell under the same boat. I was a hybrid. I was too small to be a shooting guard, and I wasn't a traditional point guard. So that's why I fell in the draft anyway.
Yeah.
So I wasn't this traditional point guard that's looking to pass and look. I'm playing the two in college, so I just get to score. So when I come to the NBA, guarding the twos when I first started was like, nah, this ain't what it is, bro. I need to go back to college, bro. I didn't, in the weight room, I wasn't like, that weight room was like, no, thank you.
Right.
I didn't want no parts of that thing.
Guys, they don't practice. They don't.
Yeah, that shit was heavy, bro. Like lifting shit and doing squats, hurt your arm. So I just wanted to just work on my skill. So me getting benched and really watching the game, and I'm watching like Jay Rich, and that's what made me like, I need to go to another position.
Yeah.
I'm watching Jay Rich, and we play Dallas. We play Jason Richardson.
Jason Richardson, okay.
We play Michael Finley. Michael Finley gives him 40. I'm like, God damn. Right? We play Katino Mobley.
I love Katino
Katino Mobley give him 30.
Katino Mobley still get people.
And then we go back to Dallas. Michael Finley gives him 42. And I'm sitting here like, oh, you getting barbecued by everybody but the best players in that position. Like you ain't got the Tracy McGrady yet, you ain't got the Vince Carter yet, no Ray Allen yet, no Kobe yet. And you getting put forth, bro. I want this. Like we used to make, he was like, yo, bro, this two guard is hard. I see you, brother.
Damn.
I need to go to this point. Oh, these points weak as shit.
Yeah.
You're the old Gary Payton. I can do that. Gary Payton. Jason Kidd, he don't even shoot. I can do. So I just started like focusing on the point, like understanding how to be the point, watching other players play at the point, and then say, when I get in, I'm just gonna do my own little thing. Right. And then that's how it came in.
Yeah,
I remember I talked to Tony Parker because he's starting, right? You got a rookie starting. He was I think pick 28. So he was picked 28, so he's a late rounder. Right. So I'm like, yo, like, what do you do? Like, how do you, like, find your own? He was like, I'm faster than everybody else. So when I get the ball, or they outletted me, I just shoot up the court trying to score. And then, if I can't score, then I just bring it back and then pass it to
Yeah, didn't get no.
I was like, yeah, okay.
Got
no
it.
doubt.
Right? So
Just taking little
so I'm starting, like, taking little notes on, him,
Yeah.
watching players that's kind of like me, but not as aggressive. So now we got Iverson, which he was at the two. So I'm trying to figure out where I am, and I can just create my own. So I'll get that motherfucker off the glass and take off. I'll hear play, man, slow down. Nigga, catch up. I'm going 1-on-5. I was not trying to pass that ball. I did not want no parts of setting up an offense.
Got to learn from other players and what other people doing. Sure.
This has been the most fun I've had.
This is cool.
I know we're over. I know we've done what we're not supposed to do, but we're doing a great. This has been a lot of fun. I learned way more about gambling than I thought I would. Breaking down the system.
Different than basketball.
Just answering questions in general. Gilbert, you've been amazing. Thanks for coming. Gaming Society Football Show. That's Gilbert Arenas. That's Mike Vick. I'm Dave Anderson. You have a good one.
Make sure to sign up and subscribe at thegamingsociety.com and hit that follow button at The Gaming Society on all social platforms.